devil come to kill, steal, and destroy. Here's this video of my friend Ellery, who was unemployed for more than a year, didn't know what to do or what he's gonna do. He started a business in Grand Turk without any experience in it. And today, when you hear this video, you'll see that Ellery now has such a successful story of about 4 or 5 laundromats on the island of Providenciales.
Hello, my name is Ellery James and owner and managing director of Lapel's group of companies. I want to first by taking this opportunity to thank Mr. Draxo Simo, a good friend of mine, to come on this series and share my story, how God has brought me through from where I was to where I am today. My story is pretty simple. I started out all my life in church, and to this day I still attend church, but I've had a few life-altering moments. At a very early age, my father died, which was my good friend, and well, pretty much my best friend, I'd say. And he died immediately of a heart attack. Many of you may have known him, Mr. Leroy James. And during that time, I was in college in Jamaica, studying IT. Lo and behold, I came home from school and broken, and I immediately got a job at Cable & Wireless. For a few years, I was at Cable & Wireless building networks, the DSL system, the internet system, and after I'd say achieving much success at Cable & Wireless, I left to follow my dream of building the country's #1 emergency communication system. After building the system, I got the short end of the stick from the government, where they refused to allow me to stay and manage it. That did put me through a level of depression. However, I knew I always wanted to do something really, really big. Unfortunately, at that same time, I went through an undesired divorce that contributed even more to my emotional state. But I never let go of his hand. I never let go of his promises to me. And, you know, I remember being unemployed for quite some time, not being able to find work. You know, and the truth is, it lasted pretty much like over a year. I'm just knocking here and there, just knocking on small jobs. But, you know, there are two things that always work together. There's discipline and there's faith. Nothing works without those two. I remember going through my divorce, I wanted to run for a while. So I had some money saved, and I went to Grand Turk after researching different types of businesses to set up this dry cleaners, which I knew nothing of. I remember hiring a guy to work with me and saying, hey, you know, I'll take you with me, but A, I needed to leave Provo, and B, I needed to start something on my own. In moving into Grand Turk, I've met so many challenges. Some of them were personal, where at one point I had no place to stay, but more than anything, I've invested all I had into a business that I knew nothing of. Long and short of it, after setting up our store in Grand Turk, I was down to $5. I remember for 1 week, myself and a staff member of mine having to eat corned beef and dumplings for a week. We would get up in the morning and we would cook breakfast, and we would make corned beef and dumpling. And then lunchtime, we would have corned beef and dumpling. And dinner time, we would have corned beef and dumpling, simply because that's all we had. And, you know, people would look and they would say, oh, you know, you guys are doing well. But when you're first starting a business for the first time, the challenges that come along with it, along with personal and family challenges, it was a bit overwhelming. I remember our first month sale, the guy who I had working with me, he was backed up on all his bills. So pretty much, and I owed him about 2 months or 3 months salary. So pretty much all the monies was going towards keeping him in Grand Trunk to keep the business open. On top of that, I was accumulating other bills in the utilities, with the utilities and water and power and rent. And shortly after, you know, we've seen the business kind of tapered off a bit. Not having a good standard of living in Grand Trunk, I decided to refinance my house and move to Providenciales to try a dry cleaners with a larger market. And hence, that's where we see Lapel's TCI Dry Cleaners today. We started that in 2013, and I want to say that by the grace of God, we were able to use that small business along with refinancing and proper financial management to set up other businesses. Today, I'm proud to say that we have 4 laundromats, 1 dry cleaners, 2 car washes, and we still own a technical company. There are a few principles that comes along with success. A is belief, 2 is attitude, 3 is discipline, and 4, more than anything else, is not only trust in God, but the ability to understand financial literacy. One of our biggest problems is that most people do not understand financial literacy simply because it's not taught in the homes, neither is it taught in schools, or not even in churches. So therefore, we are bred to be in a system of a loop where you find money to go to school, and then you find money to find work, and then after work you find that money to come out of that, and then your life revolves into this simple pattern. You know, I'm grateful enough to have some people in my life that was able to share financial literacy with me from an early age. As a result, our group of companies is growing. I'm not embarrassed by my story. So sometimes when people say, "Oh, you have a gold spoon in your mouth," they don't even know that I'm sure there are stories in my life that I can tell them that they have had it better than me, you know. And I'm grateful to be able to share my story. I'm grateful to be able to educate and motivate others. That's why I try to reach out to the Long Bay schools to teach financial literacy there, even amongst my peers and stuff. The economy in the Turks and Caicos is very strong. It's very healthy, and there are so many opportunities for all of us. But if we employ discipline, if we employ that uncommon and that firm trust and belief in God, if we employ prudent financial management, there is enough for all of us. So what I want to leave with you guys is that if you believe it, and if you spend the time to build it, you know, nothing has to suffer. Nothing lasts forever. And there's a season for every single thing. And if we continue to have that mindset and press for the stars, there's no reason why we cannot achieve the lifestyle that we want to have in this time. So I want to say thanks again to Drexel for allowing me to come over and share my story, and I pray that it has inspired someone.
I hope by now you've seen that God came that we may have life and have it more abundantly. Ellery only had about $5, was eating corned beef and dumplings for many days. But today, he's eating steak because of all that God has done in his life. You too can experience this abundant life. After all, that's what God came for. He came that we may have life and have it more abundantly.